Hey, you guys. Welcome back to Racket City Yardstead. I'm Sarah. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so glad you're all here. So, I don't know what this looks like. I'm holding my camera while I'm swinging on my swing, but today is October 9th and it's somewhere around noon and it's like 73 degrees outside. I don't know about I don't know about where you all live, but here that is not something we get very often. It's a gift. So you have to take advantage of it. So I'm just out here on my porch swing under my grapes, enjoying the garden. I have a really nice view of my raised bed garden from this vantage point, and it's a little bit different when you are in your garden and you're working. You see all of the imperfections. At least I am that way. Um, you notice the diseased plants and just where things maybe didn't thrive or have had a rough year. But when you get to kind of sit back a little bit and take a look at it from a little bit of a distance, it's so beautiful. Like there's still flowers that are beautiful, even though those plants are past their prime, and lots of green. And I think I'm feeling a little introspective and extra grateful for the garden at the moment because our local weatherman informed us that we have a chance of frost next week. So that's like 2 or 3 weeks early for us if that comes to fruition. So I'm just feeling extra grateful for the lovely weather and the beautiful garden at the moment because soon it's going to be brown and dead and we'll be moving on to the next season. So there are some fun things going on in the garden currently. There's some really beautiful things. And so I thought maybe we just take kind of a leisurely little stroll through the garden. I do need to harvest some things, but there's just some fun stuff that I thought you guys might enjoy. The bees and the butterflies are out in abundance, and it's just enjoyable. So let's go take a stroll. So I told you guys I'd give you a look at my vantage point. This is the view that I get just sitting on my swing of my garden. You can kind of take it all in at once, and it's beautiful. There's still lots of bright pinks and yellows and oranges and all that green. It's giving me food. One of the first things I wanted to show you guys is I have this fire pit here that we decided was not really going to work as a fire pit. And so I planted celosia in it this year because I just thought that would be kind of fun. It sort of looks like flames a little bit. And so I thought it was a nod to the fact it was supposed to be a fire pit. But I have this stray blackberry cane. It's growing from somewhere it shouldn't be, and it's gotten really long. And it's laid over here into the celosia. And let me show you these blackberries. We grow a variety of blackberries called Freedom. We got them from Stark Brothers. I don't know if it's fasciated or what, but it's this huge, beautiful blackberry. And then it's like little blackberries all around the base of it. But there are a few that are like that here on this cane. This one's got that as well. These are just amazing blackberries. I love them. If you've never heard of Freedom blackberries, they're what's called a primocane blackberry, and so they grow blackberries 2 times a year. Really, they grow blackberries on the second year canes in the spring, and then they actually will put out fruit on their first year canes, and that's what these are. And so we don't get a ton of blackberries in the fall, but we get a few, and they're these big, beautiful, delicious blackberries. So if you're looking to grow blackberries, I would highly recommend the Freedoms. They are just fantastic. My flowers are definitely waning, but they're still giving me some that are really beautiful. I do love these Cosmos with their cupcake wrapper. Look, they are just very whimsical and fun. A couple of weeks ago, I showed you guys that my pepper plants were putting on a whole lot of new flowers and new baby peppers. And I thought we'd just take a peek over here at what that looks like now. I'm really hoping that frost is going to hold off and we'll get a little bit longer for these to finish growing and ripening. But if not, I'm going to have a lot of green peppers. You can see all my green peppers in here. Some of them are getting color, but look, right in here, it's just this cluster all together. Some of my plants have really enjoyed this cool off of the fall. My eggplants are doing a lot better. I don't know that that's so much a weather issue as I had flea beetles that just wouldn't quit this year. And then also, I've never dealt with them before, but my eggplants had potato beetles this year. And so there's this one plant back here. Let's see if I can get to it. The potato beetles just decimated this poor plant, and it's trying to make a comeback, but it doesn't really have time. You can see my beautiful celotias are enjoying this cooler weather though, this nice bright pop of red in here with my eggplants. My sweet potatoes are flowering. It's a little bit late in the day though, and so the flowers are shriveling up. If you don't know, sweet potatoes are actually in the same family as morning glory. So they have beautiful blooms in the morning and then they start to fade. I'm loving this salmon zinnia. It's an Oklahoma salmon zinnia so much. It's kind of a sad little plant. Its base is right there and it's fallen over, but the flowers that are still growing have just pointed themselves up towards the sun and they're just lovely. I mentioned in a previous video that I have a volunteer green bean plant that's all tangled in my sun gold tomato, and we are absolutely enjoying the green beans off of this plant. I'm so grateful that we have it. But if I turn around here, these are the green beans I planted a few weeks ago and they are putting on buds. So I'm hopeful we're actually going to get some food out of there. Now, I did want to show you guys this because it's giving me a ton of joy. It's so funny when I walk past this. But I planted a watermelon vine in the end of this bed down here. I didn't necessarily expect it to do a whole lot, but I bought a 6-pack and I just had one I didn't have anywhere to put. And so it's sort of just hung around all summer. It's grown, it didn't really do anything. And then the weather cooled off and we got rain from those couple of hurricane systems that came through. And it just became the plant that really wanted to live. This plant has reached from the end of this bed down there. It's come past several tomato plants, basil, pineapple sage, and it's climbed up to be about eye level for me, a baby watermelon on this cattle panel. It absolutely does not have time to do anything, but it's just so fun and funny to me at the same time that I'm just enjoying its presence in places that I never intended for it to go. If you've been with me since early in the gardening season, then you might remember that I bought a couple of Super Sweet 100 tomato plants, and one of them turned out to definitely not be a Super Sweet 100 tomato plant. And it gave me some fruit at the beginning of the season, and then it sort of petered off and wasn't doing anything. And I'm going to show you what it looks like now. I'm wondering if it's some kind of cross between the Super Sweet 100 and something else, because it is covered in tomatoes that are maybe 2 to 3 times bigger than a Super Sweet 100 should be. But I've eaten tomatoes off of this plant and they taste wonderful, so I'm not going to complain, but it's just sort of this fun anomaly in my garden. It's kind of hard with the shadows, but here's a whole cluster of those tomatoes. There's lots of them, just like if it were actually a cherry tomato plant, but they are definitely bigger than cherry tomatoes. Let's see if I can get my hand in here on one of them. You can see a Super Sweet 100 is a lot smaller than that. It's a little bit split, but this pineapple is ripening and it will still eat. These are delicious tomatoes. So I did want to show you guys, if the frost does come next week, it's only supposed to be in the 30s, so not too terribly bad. But this squash plant actually has little flowers on it now and some baby squash. I don't know how well that comes through on the camera. Let me see if I can zoom. You can see right there is a baby squash. So I will do what I need to do next week to try and protect this plant, and preferably the others as well, and see if we can actually get ourselves some squash. Thanks for hanging out with me in the garden today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this just kind of casual day wandering through and looking at what's still growing and the things that are still pretty and producing. So I did pick those blackberries. They're hilarious. But we have a nice basket of produce here, some big tomatoes and cherry tomatoes, some peppers, green beans, flowers for a bouquet. So it's just a nice day to be outside and enjoy this fall weather while we can. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.